Methodism is basically on the same page as other Protestant denominations in our belief that everything that's necessary to know and believe for salvation is contained in the scriptures. But holy literature, just like any literature, needs to be read and interpreted by people. When Methodists have questions about God, we turn to scriptures for the answers, and we have a specific strategy for interpreting what we read. 3 lenses that help us in our study. These will be the topics of my next 3 videos, and our first is tradition. I'm Reverend Ian Collier, and this is 2-Minute Methodism. When we think about tradition, there's actually 2 sorts: big T tradition and little t traditions. When we talk about tradition, these are the fundamentals of the gospel that were preached even before the scriptures were written down. Scripture itself is the crystallization of this tradition. But as time went on, Christians began to misinterpret scripture and came to beliefs that betrayed the core message of the gospel, drastically changing who God is and what salvation means. To deal with these heresies, the church held councils and adopted statements, creeds, as part of the tradition to act as guardrails so that we interpret correctly. For Methodists, tradition also includes those distinctive beliefs that make us Methodist, like our hope of Christian perfection and how we always remember that God's grace is given to all persons all the time. We preserve tradition in our doctrinal standards, which are statements that make sure that we remain Christian and Methodist. We can also talk about little t traditions. These are the beliefs and interpretations that might not cut to the heart of the faith, but are still customary. These might differ between cultures, and even theologians of the past reflect different traditions among themselves. When we interpret scripture, we include these traditions in our conversation. All tradition reminds us that we have inherited our faith from the saints, and they still help us in our understanding today.